Good morning and welcome back to the Cursing Seamstress. I'm in a little bit of a different location because I had to go where the light is this morning. It's about 15 till 7 and I've got a physical therapy appointment this morning and then a hair appointment. So I'm ready kind of early and I thought I'd go ahead and get this recorded. Today I have a pattern review. This is for the Patterns for Pirates Lumberjack Shirt. Patterns for Pirates is the company that makes the Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear joggers. I did a review of, or I made the Mama Bear and the Baby Bear joggers, and I like them a lot. And I did a review on here too. If you're interested in just searching back, it was probably October or November when I did that. All right, so, and I was pleased. So I was looking for something for my grandson, the 10-year-old, and I found this shirt. The sizes are from 3 months to size 14. I made him a size 12, ready to wear. He wears a 14 now, but the joggers ran a little bit big, and sometimes the indie patterns do, so I felt like a 12 would do fine. There's a hood option for this shirt, and there is a lined version. So, just a few things. Overall, the pattern is very cute. It's not horribly difficult. I was just thinking as I was making this, I don't think that I've done a pattern with, well, I just have to think. I may have done a pattern with a yoke before. I don't know. I don't know if I've done a traditional shirt like this one with a yoke, a stand, a collar, and the buttons. If I have, it's been a really long time ago. I know I've done collars, but I'm not sure if I've ever done the stand. So, a few things about it. The difficulties that I had were, and I have it here, let me just show it to you. This is it. I put 2 pockets on here, as you could put no pockets or 1 pocket if you want to. So everything came out fine. I kind of made things work if I got confused about them. The stand and the collar were good. Tucking, when you trim the collar and you trim the stand and you sew them together, you have to make sure that everything tucks in and stays tucked in. So the next time I make this, I will not trim down the sides where it has to be tucked in, because it was really hard to get that little piece where it needed to be tucked in and hold it in place. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but it was. So what I ended up doing when I came to stitching it in, like stitching the body of the shirt into the stand and the stand into the collar, I ended up, because you're also supposed to stitch all around the collar at the same time and all around the stand, and you're supposed to top stitch. So what I ended up doing, because I needed to see that that little piece was being held in place, I ended up stitching it on the back side. And so if this fabric were anything solid, or if I had been using, for whatever reason, a contrasting thread, you would be able to see the bad stitching, or the stitching that maybe didn't line up so good on the front. So what I did was, after I stitched it on the underside to make sure everything was held in place on these ends, then I went and I did the top stitching. So you cannot tell that my stitching is not so great there. So that worked out well. The back does not have a pleat in it. So this is flat across here. Let's see. All right, so a few things that I want to comment on. When I took it over to my daughter's house to try it on my grandson, some of the things they said, and I knew this already, there are a lot of buttons on the front of this, and there is a guide that comes with this for the buttons, and I use that guide. And so that spaces the buttons out. It looks like it's about every 2 inches. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buttons on this. And my grandboy got out another button-down shirt, and it had 6 buttons on it, I think. So if I make this again, I will space the buttons out 2.5 inches instead of 2, and I will not use that guide. And it's fine. And actually, you know, Griffin goes out on a boat fishing in the cold weather, and so having more buttons makes this fit tighter. There are fewer chances for wind and cold to get in. So it's not the end of the world. The thing that my daughter noticed, she said something about this was a retro looking shirt. And she said that because she thought that the collar was extra, I don't know what word to use. When I think of width, I think of going, you know, from side to side, but she was talking about the, you know, the depth. I don't know what term. That from here to here was too big. And I mean, I don't know. I don't look at men's clothing that often. I don't know if it looks too big. She thought that it did. So I may reduce that when I make it again. She also said that the cuffs were also similarly too steep. You know, I don't know if they are, but the next time I make them, I will cut off. And we compared to a shirt that he had, and this was larger by at least 1 inch. So the next time I will cut this 1 inch shorter. The buttons I used on here, I don't know if you'll be able to see them. These are navy buttons, military navy buttons. They have an anchor on them. I don't know. I got these used from somewhere. I think from an auction house where I bought a ton of stuff. I didn't purchase them from a shop or anything. The bottom of this shirt it's the type that is scooped down toward the front. So another thing that I would say, and I did not do the lined version, so I just simply serged the inside here, and that worked fine. The thing that got me when sewing this was the biggest obstacle, I think, or confusing part of the pattern was the tab piece at the bottom of the sleeve where the cuff joins. This piece right here. I know I did this wrong. And I think I know what I did wrong. I didn't realize it until I went to put the cuff on. And it's fine, it looks good. But what I did was the instructions say on the sleeve to cut in 6 inches. I think it was 6 inches here. Just cut a line 6 inches. and you have a matching piece, the facing for that area, and that is also 6 inches long. And then you straighten this out like so, and then you stitch that piece across. You actually stitch it on the right side. When I went to do that, the facing part was not long enough, and I did cut 6 inches on the sleeve, and the length of the binding piece was the right length. But when I went to pin it, I think you have to clip the corners there to make a V. I don't know, it was too short. So I thought, well, rather than cut 2 more of those pieces, I'll just use bias binding that I had pre-purchased in a navy color. So I did that, and that's what messed it up, because I won't be able to explain it. But it was meant to be sewn on a little bit differently, and I realized that when it came to attaching the cuffs, it told me to have one part of this facing piece folded over and the other one folded out. And so I couldn't do that because I had stitched it all the way down. So there was no way to do that. So anyway, it's fine. I mean, you can see that it's fine. And it works great. But next time I'll know to use that piece. I should have just recut it. That's what I should have done. Let's see what else I wanted to say. I consider Griffin to be a typical average sized boy, in that he doesn't have particularly long arms, short torso, long torso, wide shoulders. He's just average. Nothing has to be adjusted when he buys ready to wear. You know, the sleeves don't have to be adjusted or whatever. So what I found on this was that the sleeves were too long. Next time I make it, I'm going to make a size 14, even though this fit him fine. And if I make a 14, I'm going to have to shorten the sleeves. I think overall the shirt was a little bit too short. There is no lengthen or shorten line, although you could certainly make one. If I make the 14, I think the problem will be solved. And so I guess that's it. The shoulder is fitting fine. So I actually could probably just make a 12 again and shorten the sleeves a bit, and then make a line across the center and then lengthen it by an inch or so. This fabric that I used was from Walmart. It's a heavy-duty flannel. It was fine to work with, but it got a bit thick when I was sewing through the layers around the collar area and around the cuffs. My machine did fine, but it is, you know, you definitely have a lot of body to this shirt. I didn't pay a lot. I think I threw away my receipt. Actually, my receipt's on my phone. I don't remember what I paid. I think probably I bought 2.5 or 3 yards, and it took a lot of fabric. Anyway, it was not expensive. I think it was maybe $4 a yard, something like that, because I think my total for that was 12 something. So again, I would still recommend the pattern. It's cute. You've got all kinds of options with it. The only negative that I would say would be the instructions maybe for that piece on the that opening there at the bottom of the sleeve where the cuff hooks on. I did find that a little bit confusing, so I'll pay better attention to that next time. I think according to my daughter, the cuffs are a little bit too wide, steep. The collar is also, that could easily be cut down. Too many buttons if you use the button guide, and the sleeves are a little bit too long. and the body of the shirt is a little bit too short. That's based on my grandson, who again I consider to be average. There's nothing weird about his shape. So so that's it. I hope that's helpful for anybody considering to make a shirt for a little kid. I don't know about the sizing for, you know, smaller sizes. This is the next to the largest size that you can make, the size 12. So, but anyway, I do recommend it despite those few things. I ordered because he's kind of on the border now at a size 14 of getting into a men's size. So I just recently, there was a sale clearance on the Simplicity site, and I went through and looked at all those patterns, and over 2 or 3 days I filled up my cart and finally checked out, and I did get a men's shirt, and I think it goes down to a size 30. So I might see, you know, how that would work for him. The other thing for this shirt, I was just thinking, I wish it had an option for short sleeves, but you could, you know, just cut the sleeves off and make them short. And it's a PDF, and I was just listening to somebody the other day. It's a new person I found on YouTube who sews. She's from the south of England on the Isle of Wight, which is also where Kittenish Behavior is. And I don't remember her name. I think it's Claire, but I don't remember her channel name. But she was talking about PDFs and how she does not mind printing them and taping them together, and I feel the same. I don't mind at all. What I love is that when you get a pattern, it is yours. You can print it off as many times as you want. You can sew a small size one time and then go back and print a big size. And I am not a person for tracing patterns. I just feel like that's so time consuming to do that, and I think your chance of error is higher when you do that rather than using a fresh pattern, you know, whenever you need to. So and she had a good idea of, instead of taping the patterns, which is always what I've done, of using a glue stick, and I thought that was going to have a glue stick, so I think I might try that and see how that works. That's it. I hope this was helpful for anybody thinking about making this pattern. I went on patternreview.com and nobody has reviewed this, so I think I will do so. That's it. All right, I am off in a few minutes. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.